Well, I'm ready to continue turning my spindle for the Victorian bird feeder, and this is where we left off here with it all laid out. So continuing on the next video, probably could have done this in the end of the last video, but I'm going to take a regular pencil and make my marks go all the way around. So here's how we do that. Line it up, have it sitting on the tool rest, and put the lathe in low speed. There we go. And now I'll do the other three on the other side here. Just make it a little bit easier to see. There's my sections. So now I'm going to take my parting tool. Remember, your parting tool stands up on the tool rest like this, doesn't lay down. And I'm going to work this middle section to a 1-inch diameter because this is my column. And I've already got my calipers set. Here's my ruler. I lay my calipers on there and they're set at 1 inch. So that's going to help me get set. Now remember that I'm going to work to the inside of my line. So to the right over the line over there, to the left of the line over there. Here we go. Check it with your calipers, not quite there yet. Remember to check it frequently. There, slides right past. All right, so now I'll do the other side. Not quite there. Right, so I have both sides of the column set. And now I can take the middle out and essentially connect the two ends there so I can use a different tool. I'm done with my parting tool for now. I set my diameters with a parting tool. I'll go back to my large gouge, and this is what you use to round out the cylinder. Bring the speed up a little more here. Just want to quickly rough this out. I like to work from the middle down each way. So that's roughed out now. Wait till that lathe stops if you're going to brush your tool rest off. Or, better yet, should probably use a brush. There we go. Okay, so I've got that roughed out. I can clean this up a little bit, and I'll use my skew. Now, be careful here, that if you're using an open grain wood such as oak or ash. I've got a piece of softwood, so we got to be careful. This could catch. Don't apply much pressure. Just smooth out from your gouge. Flip it over, go the other way, use that point to get down next to the bead, or the area that's going to be the bead. There we go. So now that's all turned down to 1 inch. Maybe a little larger in the middle, but like I said, that's certainly okay. And if you want to add some decoration, you want to put some grooves on here, go back to, you could use the tip of the skew. You could use the V-nose or diamond point, anything like that, okay? Always a little bit of freedom in the lathe work. So now I want to work on this section that's going to be my wheel or bead, but I can't get to this side where's the tenon. So that's in my way. So I need to reduce my tenons. I'm going to take those down, not to the final diameter, because that's going to be too small and this could break, fly off the lathe if I take them all the way down to a 1/4 inch right away. So I'm going to leave them a little heavy, about a 1/2 inch, maybe 5/8. And that'll give me room to get into this wheel or bead. So let's go back to our parting tool. And you certainly could set the calipers, but this is not my finished diameter. So I'm not too worried about getting an exact diameter. Just don't make them too small. There's no reverse in lathe work. All right, I'm going to take my parting tool and reduce these tenon. You notice I'm just taking several passes. I'm not going to use a gouge. It's pretty small to get into. I could use a small skew, but I'll just stick with a parting tool. Okay, so there, I've reduced my tenon, and now I've got room to work in here to make this wheel or this bead. I can do the same thing on the other side, but I think you'll get the idea. Just remember, you have to repeat it on the right as well, not just the left. So, how do I make that wheel? I like to start with the round nose. Get that brush out of the way. I like to start with a round nose and I round those corners off, left and right. And then I'm going to switch and use my skew to pull them over to clean it up, just like I did the column in the middle. You could also use a small gouge, would work. It's really up to you, whatever you find to be productive or successful. So let's start with a round nose. Just to rough that out a little bit. There, I've got the left side done. Now I've got the right side done. Now be very careful here. If you're going to use a skew, make sure that it doesn't flip. It wants to flip, so keep your thumb on top of it and pull this around. Okay, just clean that up a little bit. Just pull, get that point in there. You can see why I reduced the tenon now. Do half, flip it over so that way you're using the point. Keep it flat on your tool rest. Pull that around. And if you create a little line here, just go back to your column and get rid of that. So, there's my bead or my wheel. Here's my column. Now remember, you've got to do two, one on each side, but I think you get the picture. And now I can reduce my tenon. And the plans say that the tenon should be 1/4. If you stop a little before, that would be okay. You can always sand them down. Maybe you don't go all the way to 1/4. Maybe you drill them out. I got to reset my calipers here. Let's see. 1/4. Maybe I'll stop about 5/16. I could always sneak a 5/16 drill bit in the hole of the parts. That would be letter A or letter F. And I can open that up rather than jeopardize breaking this. Now, if I had both sides done, I would bounce back and forth. I would do a little bit on the left, a little bit on the right, then a little bit on the left, and a little bit on the right. That way, I bring them down together and I don't reduce one and jeopardize breaking it. These will break on the lathe, and it's quite a surprise. So let's reduce our tenon. Turn this off and see where we are there. Not quite there. We got to go a little bit more. Not quite there yet. Sneaking up on it. There, the calipers dropped right over, so I will call that good. That's about 5/16. Again, I don't want to snap these off. So now I want to do a little bit of sanding, and I'll be right back for that. All right, so I'm ready to sand this a little bit. Remember, you got to pull your tool rest. You don't want to get your fingers stuck down in there. So I'll pull that tool rest. And I'm going to slow my lathe down. And you can even put it in reverse. I like to put it in reverse so it doesn't throw the dust at me. So I'll turn that on. That's a good sanding speed, probably about 400 or 500 RPM. Not too fast, because it'll just get hot and it'll burn the paper and it'll burn your hand. So we'll get this sanded up. A little final sanding here. And this is about a 120 grit. This is a pretty soft wood I'm using, so don't need to go any coarser than 120 grit. Sand this wheel. I don't have to worry about sanding the tenon because that's going to go down in a hole anyway. So once I'm satisfied with my 120 grit, then I'll do something a little higher. I've got this strip, I believe it's, let me number it on the back, I believe it's 400 or 500, which is probably a little overkill, but it's a lot easier to sand parts on the lathe. Once you take them off the lathe, it's hard to go back. Because I'm going to cut these waste blocks off, and then whatever I have is what I have. If I'm looking for any deep scratches, I'm going to get rid of those, especially in the column part. Remove those deep scratches if you see any. Alright, so that looks pretty good. Now remember, I only turned half of this. You've got to do the other half. I see I've got it marked out there. And then you've got to make a matching column, a whole nother piece. So, good luck.